when we heard that zgrills started a new program called Reward Crowdfunding that allows you to buy a pellet smoker for $777 and get a new one every 5 years for free plus the cost of shipping for the next 50 years, we had to find out what it's all about and see whether this is simply too good to be true. With this program, you get to choose between these models in their product line. Why are they doing this? As they put it, zgrills reinvests into expanding our market, improving our products, and increasing the value we provide to customers. So we had to get one to see if this program and their product line is worth it. And we selected the 700D3, and for our first cook, we'll be smoking a good old pork butt.
Basement.
We got our 7-pound pork butt here that I got at the local Harris Teeter. I like it because it's bone in. I always prefer bone in. Seem to get a little bit better flavor that way. It's nicely trimmed right off the bat. So I just gotta open it up and slide this guy right out. Now I'm actually doing this prior to putting the Z-Grill together because once this is seasoned, I want to stick it in the fridge and let it sweat in all that seasoning for a little while before we put it on the smoker to get as much flavor as possible. Now for my binder, I'm going to use yellow mustard. As always, that mustard will not add to the flavor profile. Now we're just gonna start with salt. I always do salt and pepper first. Some people just do the barbecue seasoning right away. And I leave the fat cap in place always because on a pellet grill where you've got a lot of heat coming from the bottom up, this is gonna be fat cap down to protect that meat from that direct heat. Now the pepper. I know I've mentioned this before, but if you don't have one of these things, you probably need to get one. It is so much easier. It saves me a little bit of time. Every minute counts, right? All right, and next, I'm using a new rub that I just discovered at my local Ace Hardware store. It's called Lambert's Sweet Rub-O-Mine Barbecue. I tried it the other day. It's really good. It's got a decent sweet profile, also salty and a little bit peppery. Very nice. And it's got a nice red color, which I always like on my pork butts. And I'm going liberal, folks. This is a giant 7-pound dense hunk of meat, and there's very little risk of over-seasoning this guy. So yes, I am dousing this thing. It's gonna sweat through, and it's gonna put those flavors back into the meat. That's gonna be beautiful. It's Saturday around 12 o'clock here in Virginia, and what more can you ask for than doing pulled pork sandwiches, hopefully on Saturday night. Now this guy's gonna take a while to smoke at about 250, but I'm gonna do my best to have it ready for dinner. If not, I might be eating late night by myself. It's kind of early for me to say that I'm salivating already, but what can I say? I am. I'm not sure I want any piece of meat sticking out that doesn't have rub clearly covering it. Oh, we got a little bit of white showing through. We got to get that. All right, there we have it. I'm going to stick it in this foil pan and I'm going to go put this in the fridge. And like I said, oh, I got a little spot there. Got to get. I'm gonna let this thing sweat out for an hour or two, hopefully an hour or less while we put that Z-Grill together. Honestly, it's sitting in the box in the garage. It's been sitting there for a little while. I have no idea how easy or difficult or quick it's gonna be to put that thing together, but we're gonna let this thing sweat out through the assembly and the first burn-in. Then we're gonna put this thing on at 250 and see how that Z-Grill performs. See you in a bit. So here we are with the Z-Grill parts laid out. I gotta say, everything feels pretty sturdy. There are a lot of parts. This might be a larger assembly than I'm used to with some of the other grills that come more pre-assembled, but that's okay. One of the things I'll note, they did send these gloves for assembly, which is a nifty little addition, so I don't get my hands greasy or cut up on some of the sharper parts. And also, a big plus here, they send a cover. This is the first time I've ever bought a grill that comes with its own cover. All right, so we're all done. It took almost exactly an hour and a half to put it together, which isn't bad at all. I did it all by myself, so that's pretty good. It looked like it was gonna be a lot, but it actually turned out to be a lot simpler than I was expecting. So now a couple things to know. It is a bit smaller. It's like the Searwood 600 versus the Searwood XL 600, so it kind of fits in that size category. It does come with 2 probes, which is good. The Searwood, for example, only comes with 1 for some reason. So we're gonna go ahead and do the burn-in. And I've got these oak pellets from Z-Grills. So we're gonna use the Z-Grill and we're gonna use Z-Grill pellets to do the burn-in. So let's open up this hopper. So this is a 20-pound bag and it fits in there and there's a little bit of room. So it's a little bit more than a 20-pound hopper, which is good. Gonna go ahead and turn the power button on. It says SET, set. So I guess we gotta set the temperature. I'm gonna set it to high. For the burn-in, they say to do it on high. And then once the burn is done, after 30, 45 minutes, wipe it down, put foil on the heat block pan, and then we're good to go, and we're gonna get that pork butt on there. Another thing to know, this is not Wi-Fi connected, so it really is, if you're gonna be at home doing your smoking, that's when you wanna use this. You can buy a Wi-Fi controller and replace the one that's there for about 90 bucks, which isn't bad. $777, I think it is. You're getting this smoker and the advantage of being able to get a new one every 5 years, which is pretty amazing for free. Just gotta pay shipping, I think. And so I can't wait to see how this thing performs. We'll see you in a bit. All right, so the shutdown cycle is complete. It got up to about 425 degrees, no more oil smell. I took out the drain pan, the grease pan, and lined it with tin foil, which is what they recommend to do to make it easy to clean later. So now I'm gonna crank this thing back up to 250, and then we're gonna be ready to get that pork butt on there. I may have to crank to 275 at some point because I'm starting a little bit later than I had expected. I'm probably gonna be eating at midnight. Another thing I really like about this is it's got the 4 caster wheels. All of them rotate, so it's really easy to move around. There is a pellet dump on the back, which is nice. So if you want to change your pellets, you can do that. And another really cool feature that I've actually never seen before, I didn't even know it existed, is there's a little feed button right here. And so my understanding of how that works is if you want it to start up quicker, before you turn it on and choose your temperature, you press and hold the feed button and it makes the auger turn and put the pellets into the firebox so that when you start it up, they're going to be in there and it's going to catch fire quicker. So yeah, let's see what happens. 250 degrees and we'll be back to put out that to put on that pork butt. See you in a bit. Okay, we started her back up. She's at 250. It took exactly 11 minutes to get from 0 to 250, which is pretty good. We got the pork butt here looking really nice. As I said, we put a lot of seasoning on there and it's sweat through. We should get lots of flavor, so let's go ahead and put it on. And I'm just gonna stick it right in the middle. Now, that shelf is a bit low for something like a pork butt. If I was worried about it, I could move this back and take that out. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna do that. And let's push this back because I want it to be right in the middle. So as I mentioned, it does come with 2 probes that are built in, but I'm somewhat impartial, as you probably know by now, to the ThermoPro. So I'm gonna stick my ThermoPro probe right in the middle, all the way down to the bone. We're good to go. In 2 hours, I'm gonna spritz it and we'll see how it's doing. All right, we're at 2.5 hours in. It's looking pretty good, I must say. Look at all that smoke coming out of there. That is nice. So as I've started using this and contemplating things, comparing this to other grills, I want to point out a couple things. Now, we chose the 700D3 because this has dual wall insulation, which is fairly unique, but it's bare bones in terms of connectivity. As I mentioned earlier, no Wi-Fi, no Bluetooth. So as long as you're going to use it locally to monitor your temps, you're good to go. And then of course you get a new one every 5 years, which is a bonus. This is really good if you're thinking about not wanting to spend your own money on your future grills, of course, other than the price of shipping. Now, if you want a version that has Wi-Fi, they do make a different one. I think it's the 700C2CE, if I remember correctly. That is Wi-Fi connected, but it's not dual wall insulation. So which one is more important to you? If you want the Wi-Fi, go with that model, and then again, get a new one every 5 years. I must say, it is looking good. We're using straight apple juice for the spritz, nothing fancy. All right, we're at 6.5 hours in. It's at 165 degrees. That means it's time to wrap, so we're gonna do that. But let's take a look at this thing. I must say, it is looking quite beautiful. And actually, if you look right here, you can see that bone is sticking way out. That was not sticking out earlier. But man, that is looking pretty. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab it and stick it. Whoa, it's falling apart already. Stick it right in that pan. And we're gonna go inside and wrap it and season it a little bit more, then stick it back on for the rest of the cook. Hopefully we'll be at 195 to 205 degrees in the next couple of hours because it's getting late. 10:30, I'm gonna be eating alone tonight. I can already see it. First thing I'm gonna do is take the ThermoPro out of the top and stick it in the middle, in the back. And now we're gonna season it a little bit more. So I'm gonna add butter to the top. And yes, I'm gonna add more flavor to the top of this. Now we're just gonna wrap it with foil. And that should do it. Hopefully we're looking at another hour or two to get to 205, 195 to 205. As I said earlier, it's 10:30 already, and I might be eating super late, which is not good for my health, but we gotta do what we gotta do. All right, see you in a bit. All right, 9.5 hours and the pork butt is finally ready to go. It's 1:30 in the morning, so as I mentioned might happen, I'm gonna have to eat by myself tonight because it's so late. 9 hours on the Z grill and then 30 minutes rest. And look at that, the bone just pulls right out, nice and easy, tender, fall off the bone pork butt. Now I'm just gonna pull a little bit with my hand just to try it here. We're not gonna do the full pull tonight. I'll pull more of it tomorrow for pork sandwiches for the family. Very tender, very juicy. Let's try a little bit of this bark. Wow, that is delicious. This came out really, really, really good. This is one of my best pork butts yet. I got to give Z-Grill that. I don't know if it was the recipe this time or what, but very, very delicious. All right, let's make a pulled pork sandwich here real quick. So I'm gonna take some of this pork. I've got the claws in the drawer, but don't really feel like I need to use it because this is just gonna be one sandwich. That looks good right there. I'm gonna stick that in the bowl actually. I'm gonna use my favorite barbecue sauce, Stubbs, and I'm gonna put a little bit in there and mix that up with the Forever Tongs. Man, that looks good. And just slather that all over this nice brioche bun. And then on top of that, some coleslaw. Not everybody likes coleslaw on their pulled pork sandwiches, but I do. It's one of my favorite things. Man, that is good. Smoky, tender, juicy, very juicy. This is a really, really good pulled pork sandwiches. Again, one of the best I've ever done. That's delicious. I'm gonna finish this up and then I'm gonna pass out 1:30 at night. I can't hang like I used to. Final thoughts on the Z-Grill for the night. If you're looking for a smoker that you can do nice pulled pork like this on without having to fuss with too much extra stuff, spend $777 and have the ability to have it replaced once every 5 years, I would say based on this result so far, it's looking pretty good. Now we're gonna hold on to that thing and we're gonna do many more cooks over the coming months. And we're gonna come to a final conclusion because we need to see how does it hold up to many cooks. We know it does the first one just fine, but will it hold up over time? We're gonna find out, so stay tuned. Thanks for hanging out. See you next time.